you classicists out there, well, now it says we're live again. Are we okay, Lauren? Well, we'll proceed. This may be a little, so the Ides of March may be spooking all of us, I guess.
We are good to go, guys. Sorry.
All right, so pardon us for all this. If you don't know where we are, it's Monday, and we're going to try to tell you what happened at the legislature today and what's coming up. Probably the big news is this: the House debated and advanced to final action today, Senate Bill 235. This is the Back to School Act that says all districts must offer an in-person option for full-time in-person option by March 26th. Most districts are doing that. Most are planning to, and most that are not says they'll try to make it, assuming this makes its way through the process. Final action will be tomorrow. The bill has not been amended, so it would go directly to Governor Kelly. There's really two big pieces here, and this was alluded to on the floor a little bit. One is, should the state be saying, now we're going to tell you you have to be in school? That's kind of one debate. The second thing that we really raised in committee is that this is law ever after. And so it does raise some questions. On floor debate today, there were discussions about, well, there'd still be, exceptions if there was bad weather or a flood. Well, I guess as we read the bill, that's true. You're not required to operate. But as we read the bill, you could not operate unless you allowed an in-person, meaning non-remote option. So your choice is, as we read the bill, is you, in a disaster emergency, you could simply close and not offer school at all, but you couldn't say we'll offer remote or hybrid, but only remote or hybrid. So our concern is really more the implications of what might be going ahead. That did not sway the House today, at least on general orders. Final action will be tomorrow. Also today, the House debated very briefly, meaning not at all, not controversial, House Bill 2287, which is the House version of the Kansas Promise Act, creating a new scholarship program for certain high demand CTE programs or two-year degree programs. This would set up a new scholarship program. We're supporting that as another tool to help kids get post-secondary education. And again, that passed without any real debate. Those will be on final action tomorrow. Obviously, maybe the big issue that we're waiting on is House action on 2119, which is the combination school budget, private school expansion, remote learning, limits, funding for remote learning, extending the 20 mills, encouraging a $500 bonus for teachers. Everything's wrapped up in this. We have not yet, that I've seen, received our notice of general orders tomorrow. Could be tomorrow, could be later this week, could be
Actually,
next week.
I think it's beyond that. I'll double check, but I don't think it's on general orders for tomorrow.
Okay, if you've got insight, I didn't think I got my notice, but I may have missed it. So those are kind of the that's sort of what we're looking for on the House floor. The Senate is not scheduled final action, but Scott, why don't we go to you for Senate Education brief report from there?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Senate Education heard today a presentation from the Kansas Jobs for America's Graduates, JAG program. Very, very popular program that helps mentor students in high school toward careers. They heard from a student from Topeka High, and she was just very poised and, just a wonderful student. And the education committee was really impressed with the program and with her. After that, they got into, they voted out a couple of bills that apparently have absolutely no controversy. One is kind of a clarifying bill for the Board of Healing Arts that would allow off-site clinics owned or operated by a school in partnership with other providers to be in existence, basically. And then there was another bill, they actually put that bill on the consent agenda. Then there was another bill, House Bill 2070. It allows private post-secondary institutions to impose a surcharge when payments are made with credit cards or a debit card. Apparently, public universities can already do this. This just extended it to private colleges. I don't know why the surcharge is necessary, but that was recommended for approval too. All week, they're going to be considering bills and discussing bills that they've already heard.
Right. No further hearings this week in that committee right now, I don't believe, but they do have, for example, the transgender female sport team bill, which is potentially out there. They will be receiving presentations on things like state assessments and role of counselors and things like that. So kind of a week digging in a little bit to some issues without any specific bills. So Leah, you've been following, and we need to let you go in just a few moments. The Conference Committee on the Kansas Emergency Management Bill. Anything to share there?
Just that there has been a lot of meeting and then recessing and meeting again. As you may know, the Senate and the House each have their own bill about how the state government could and should react to future statewide emergencies, such as a pandemic or some other kind of emergency. And the two sides have been fairly far apart, and they've been kind of cautiously trading positions today. But then, floor work and other committee work tends to interfere with that. And so they're coming back at 4:30. I believe they feel somewhat optimistic about reaching an agreement, but we'll just have to see how that will go, and I'll continue to follow that tonight. The latest that I saw did not seem to do much in the way of changing the relationship of K-12 public schools from what we've seen earlier. The House bill, says that that local boards have the authority to close schools, not necessarily the governor. There was a kind of a combo, I think, that they're heading towards that would allow that, but also would say that the state board and perhaps others could offer some guidance depending on what the emergency is. It's been a little bit difficult to follow because they're trading orders rather lengthy, and we don't have access to copies of what they're doing. So we all have to kind of squint at our Zoom screen. So we're tracking that, and it looks like my internet connection is unstable. So I'm going to take that as a clue to go.
Okay, thanks, Leah. That really covers today. No meeting scheduled tomorrow, but there are several other hearings that will be coming up later in the week. We'll be filling you in on those. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow afternoon.